You put your feelings on safety, so you don't go wasting all your energy. Cause too many had their way say, you just wanna be friends, them niggas ain't me. You got a whole lot of love, girl, don't you waste it. I wanna build it back up, don't wanna break it. Girl, I've been wishing for you, my chance, I'll take it. Girl, I know what you've been through, so I'll be right here, yeah. I'll be here when you're done tripping, overthinking. I'll be sipping, that's how I control this feeling. You keep tripping, thinking I'ma give up on you, girl.
Hey ladies, thanks for tuning in again to Sisters for Sisters. The topic is going to be, do you want a king just because he's a king? So I'm going to be talking about how choosing or accepting the wrong man will lead you to make bad decisions throughout life. So by choosing the wrong man or accepting the wrong man when he comes to you, you inevitably create your own destiny. He wants you to be happy, but he also wants you to make the right choice. He gives you the ability to make choices and not just give you what he wants you to have. So you have the choice to either be good or evil. You have the choice to accept good or evil. So in order to obtain the happiness that you're destined to have, you have to make the right choices. Something that he needs to listen to you for, he won't. And that's not a relationship. That is just a one-sided way of living. And what person wants that? Nobody wants to be in a relationship where they feel like they're by themselves and can't relate to their mate. So I just want you ladies to take that with you, because once you start to make bad decisions, once you let that bad decision come into your life, and then you create children from bad decisions, the bad decisions are just going to trickle down into your children's relationships and their children's children and their children's children after them. Back promoting abstinence in our girls, promoting no sex before marriage. And that means marriage to someone that you actually love and trust and know that is going to do you good. Not somebody that someone forced you to be with because they feel like you should be with them, even though they're evil and they're abusive and you know that they're just completely wrong for you. So, and if we start to promote that in our girls and create that sense of self-worth in them, then the boys have no choice but to start either respecting them or otherwise go find some loose woman to deal with. So just think, your mate as a woman, your man is your everything. In the culture of the Israelite woman, your man is next to God. He covers you. He protects you. He gives you wisdom. And from that, you should be able to rear righteous children and live happily ever after. Now, we know that happily ever after never comes for some people, but what is it that keeps us from that? For one, women are scared to be alone, and that's vice versa for a lot of men too. I mean, we are social creatures and we love to be around other people. So another study I checked out on Forbes magazine, there was a study done that included over 3,000 women, where a third of them were more afraid of being alone than getting a cancer diagnosis. So what is loneliness And how do we overcome this without sacrificing our self-worth and happiness? This right here is my entire purpose for this group. You know, we should be able to come together, meet new people, be around people that you can relate to, people with the same spirit as you. You know, if you constantly feel the need to compete with people you're around or have to dumb yourself down, you need to find another source for socializing. It is okay to cut people off when you need to. I would have never considered myself a lonely person, but after getting into a relationship as a young woman, it gave me a great sense of dependability on my man. Maybe because I always had too big of a heart. Maybe because I tried to see things as they were in the days of our elders, where people at least seemed, quote unquote, to be happy even if they weren't. That isn't what I wanted, but I did at least enjoy the sense of seeing people being together for long periods of time and at least seeming like they were happy overall. I was told on multiple occasions that I wanted a fairy tale life. Like I just had too much going on to where I thought that the man that I should have should be close to perfect. All I ever wanted was a man that could love, provide, and protect for his family. Was I asking for too much? I don't think so. The thing was, I was expecting too much from people that were incapable of giving me what I wanted. So after being told that so many times, you actually, even if you don't directly believe it, those thoughts are put into your head. So after a while, I just started feeling like, okay, maybe I should just go with it. Maybe he'll see what I see later if I just keep being this wonderful person to him. But no, that didn't work. Once people like this have killed your dreams and ambitions of being happy with them, and you're questioning yourself, everything you do, that same doubt will start to pour into. And I'm going to get back to how this relates to loneliness in a minute. So, most times you'll notice that if you haven't fully gotten over being dealt with in such a manner, that you end up taking those same learned characteristics into your next relationship, or just relationships in general. Or if you continue to stay in a relationship like this, that you will eventually turn into everything a person has told you that you were or were not. The biggest factor in relationships like this is the honeymoon stage. You're loving each other. He's telling you everything you want to hear. You're talking about building together, and everything just seems peaceful and serene. And then they got you locked in. And then comes this out of nowhere downpour of negative thoughts, feelings, conversations. Everything that you do is wrong. Everything they do is right. I'm just trying to protect you, and you need me and I don't need you. So you need to listen to what I say, or otherwise there will be consequences. It's like they create the fairy tale world, which is pretty much their world, that they told you that there wasn't. And then comes the feelings of separation and loneliness. How do you feel alone in a relationship? You feel like nothing that you do matters. Nothing that you say is ever heard or understood. And you completely lost the love connection. And once the love is gone out of a relationship, there's really nothing left but a feeling of emptiness. And when you're feeling empty, you start looking for any and everything that you can that will fill what is missing. And a lot of us, we use food, we use work, drugs, alcohol, other relationships, and so on and so forth. And most women have always been told to stay and stick it out, but why? Most of these same women that are told that end up getting left by these same men. They get left with children that end up fatherless, with children who've watched the neglect and abuse, with children who grow up to commit the same types of abuse or end up in relationships that have the same type of abusive characteristics. Most people don't know why they end up in the situations that they do, and especially not able to relate it to their childhood experiences. And a lot of things we go through are directly related to the way that we grew up. And for a lot of women, we're used to seeing like our mothers and grandmothers be quiet about a lot of situations when it comes to their men. So even though we know that we need help, we won't reach out, especially because of the lack of support in society, more so as a culture and as well as the judicial system when it comes to our race of people. We also tend to try to cover up a lot for our men. We try to make them appear to be something that we know they are not. We feel like the black man has enough on his plate than to have to deal with relationship issues. So most times we just let it go. Like Shahrazad Ali said in one of her lectures, women are not the backbone of the relationship. If we're the backbone and also the weaker vessel, then what is the man? Black women are more than 40% likely to experience abuse in a relationship with a black man, and a lot of that is simply due to issues of race. You know, the black man has issues getting work. He's constantly being harassed, and you know, all of that comes back home with him. So who else does he have to take it out on but the woman and the child? And but with us being the original nurturer, we try to do our job and keep our man as happy as we can. But what about you? And what about your feelings? Women who are much less fortunate have it way worse because they have no outlets. If you have an abusive mate and they make sure that you're well taken care of, you will more than likely put your emotions into things like shopping, partying, and you know, anything that you can do to take your mind off of it. But at the end of the day, the loneliness still exists. So, you know, when you see a woman, just because her man is dishing out money left and right, you know, you see her, she's fly all the time, but you know deep down that her man, you know, he's cheating on her, he's abusive to her, but she stays because he takes care of her. And that's a lot of relationships, a lot. More than 50% of black women who were murdered due to a domestic dispute are wives and girlfriends of the offenders. Abuse is one of the leading causes for both psychological as well as physical injury among women. Prime example, another lesson learned. Most times, I believe women don't speak out due to shame. You know, we don't want anybody to know that we're being abused. We don't want anyone to know that our relationship is on the rocks. We don't want anybody to know that, you know, you just don't want anybody looking down on you or making you feel some type of way because you're going through something, which is really not good, because if you need help, you need to get help. So instead of pointing fingers at each other and blaming people for their problems, try to seek out better ways to help them. I don't know what people have going on in their heads, and at this point in my life, I don't try to get into people's heads unless they have requested the help. But you would think after meeting someone new, you've expressed your likes and dislikes and things others have did to lose your trust, that they want to do everything opposite of that. But in most relationships, they end up doing worse than the last. They take those exact same things that you gave them in order to, I guess, try to help build you up, thinking that you're telling your story and that the person that you're dealing with, they're going to try to, do better and not do the things that the person did to hurt you. So, with that being said, certain men will stop at nothing to be able to be in control. And there's different levels to control. Now, again, with the same ex I was with, I had just gotten a new job. He was currently looking for work, and I was working from home, but I couldn't because of the constant distractions. So I said, let me just get up and I'm just going to go and work in the field that I like. So it was the perfect little job for me. I was working at a trucking company. It was like 6 people in the office, very just calm and relaxing environment. And I was learning so many different things that weren't even a part of my job description. So I was an administrative assistant, but was learning how to I did taxes, but I didn't do business taxes. So the guy that was over me, he was teaching me how to do quarterly taxes as well as more in-depth accounting practices. So I really liked the job because it was everything that I was, going to school for and that I wanted to be in life. So it was just really good for me. But anytime I liked something too much, just, expressed too much how happy I was about something, it had to be something to it. I was sleeping with the boss. I was flirting with everybody. I was doing something other than showing the same skills and abilities that you seen in me and that you liked in me. So at this point, I was just at my wit's end, trying to take care of my children and trying to cater to a man who claimed to be catering to me. He always wanted to know my every move, but when it came to him, where are you at? I'm outside. Oh, okay. So it was very, very psychologically draining. I knew I had to get away from him, but how do you do that when you feel like you're on your own? He was what I call him, he was an evil teddy bear. Like, he was the sweetest person when he wanted to be, but when he turned into that other person, like, you can literally see the evil in his eyes. Like, it was something I never really witnessed before. He was like one of the worst I had ever dealt with. But it's like, you have to pay attention to the signs that God is giving you. Like, we can see it early on. We see it, but we choose to put it in the back of our mind. Like, he's been through things in his life and he might need help. So let me try to help him. Let me try to build him up. Let me try to do the things that his mother and father couldn't do for him. How can you do that? You can't. And most women have either left their parents' homes or staying with different family members that no doubt love you, but just don't give you the type of support you crave. So you start to look for that elsewhere. Most times in our communities, households, we have this sense of ownership even when the children have become adults. Like, it's my house, it's my rules. Nobody is really working together to, just to keep the family together until people in the house are starting to, they're growing up in the right direction. They're doing the right things, like going to school, staying in school. You don't have those things to worry about. But it's like when you constantly, it's like you don't have no freedom in your own home. Not necessarily saying that you have to, you're not letting everybody do what they want to do in the house, but everybody should have a sense of freedom in their home, wherever they are at. And so the children start to feel like their home is like a prison and start to seek ways to get out. And for most girls, the easiest way is through a man or through marriage, or relationships where even if they weren't staying together, she could at least escape to him, escape to his house, and vice versa. I believe this type of trait stems from some sort of psychological disorder in the first place. Things like abuse as a child, a fatherless home, death of a parent, neglect, and all of which causes many different types of issues in us as adults, like depression, overeating, and just bad habits in general. So after she's had her escape, he's pleased her physically, but emotionally and mentally he's drained her. So now she has this attachment to him. She's made a soul attachment to a person who can't even enjoy the thought of having a woman who could ultimately complete him. He's too caught up in himself to see anything other than the fact that he knows he wants you, even if that means cutting you off from the world to a certain extent, or having your mental state always in the flight or fight mode. So I'm saying all this to say, ladies, if you see warning signs of abuse or know that a man has family traits that show signs that he could possibly become abusive later, I would advise that you not become romantic with the person. If you're just so intoxicated by this person, I would say abstain, and I mean abstain from sexual contact. This only confuses things, and you need to take your time. Think of it like this. If you're in a bad relationship for 10 years of your life, would it have been that bad for you to have been by yourself and happy until you knew that a person was right for you? I promise you that patience is a virtue, meaning that you have set yourself up to a standard that not every man can meet. So give yourself ample time to see and know what a person is about. Once you've gotten your bodily fluids involved, now you're second guessing yourself on things you could have probably just walked away from had you kept your quote unquote virtue. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope that I was able to reach someone or give someone hope. I'll be going more into detail on these kinds of negative behaviors and where they stem from, how we can apply PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, to our everyday life situations and how we can come out of it, and just talk about trying to endure and make good things work. Good things, not bad things. We can't keep putting band-aids on wounds that won't close. So take better care of yourself. Pay attention to your children. Always call people out on their evil, because if you accept evil and don't correct it, how much more righteous are you? Be real with yourself and others at all times. And on an end note, I will be doing more Bible type lessons on videos of their own. I'll do like this type of life lesson, and then I'll do a Bible type for those that you have a choice to what you want to listen to. So again, if you enjoyed this, please like, share, and comment, and let's continue to come together and uphold our sisters. So I just want to leave you with this question. So I'm sorry, I just want to go back to the topic. So it was, do you want a king just because he's a king? A king could be good or evil. So you have to choose wisely in everything that you do. Just because someone's at a high status, does that mean that that's the type of person that you want to deal with? So just because somebody has money doesn't make them a good person. Just because somebody is buying you all the things that you want does not make them the right person for you. If you listen to music today, you will hear the guy saying, I will have sex with your girl and go pay her rent. So they don't care about that. They'll give the money out. The money is nothing when you have it. So I'm just saying, be careful with your thoughts, ladies. Be careful with your bodies. And just take a moment and reflect on yourself before trying to get into a relationship with people that you know aren't good for you. Protect yourself. Protect your thoughts and your heart. So, love you guys. And please continue to listen and share if this helped you. Peace.